Welcome to the Tower Talk podcast, a place for honest and open conversations to support you in living your best life from the inside out. Join me on this journey of self-discovery as we explore what it means to reach next level badassery and cut through the BS. So tune in, stay a while, and I promise I'll be right here alongside you as we figure this shit out together. Yeah. Welcome to the show, Mimi. I'm so glad that you are here today. I just love your energy online, and I'm super excited to have this conversation with you today.
Thank you so much, Tara. I'm thrilled to be talking to you in semi-person.
Yeah.
Hi.
So you're in California, right? Is that right?
I'm in California. I'm in LA.
Okay, but you're a Northern California girl. I remember reading that.
I'm from the Bay Area.
Yeah. Awesome. How long have you been in LA
Warriors. For? Over 20 years.
So this is your home now forever, huh?
Definitely. Yeah. I still have family in the Bay Area, so I'm up there quite a bit. Okay. That's where my roots are, in the East Bay. But yes, LA is definitely my home now.
Where are you at in LA? Because LA is very big. When people say they're from LA, I'm like, you could be from Santa Monica, or you could be from Valley.
I am in Santa Monica, so that's so interesting that you mentioned that first. So I am close-ish, to the beach.
Amazing.
So I love the beach, and I think I didn't know how much I love the beach until I moved down here.
How often do you go to the beach?
Interesting, not as much as you would think.
Yeah.
So I'm not a surfer. I do like to boogie board when the water is not too cold. I like to walk at the beach a lot. Yeah. I like to walk in the sand and on the shore and into the water. But days when we will actually pack up all our stuff and go hang out at the beach, we don't do that a ton. But I do walks regularly at the beach. I love that. And I love just the environment of being down there, because all kinds of people are just out there doing their thing. They're walking, they're biking, they're playing volleyball, they're surfing, and it's just nice to just be around people just enjoying their physicality and being by the water. Yeah. And love to get my feet in the sand and
love it. Oh, I miss that. Yeah. We go on vacation a lot to the beaches, but I've never actually lived by the beach. So I feel like if I lived by the beach, I'd go there all the time.
Wait, but, where are you?
I'm in Austin, Texas.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
I moved down here about 2.5 years ago from Denver, which is another landlocked state, but very different atmospheres as far as weather goes.
In the Bay Area, it's all water up there. And so I've never not lived near the ocean.
True. Yeah. Ever. Yeah. One day. So Mimi, tell us who you are. Tell us just a little bit of background of who is Mimi Ison.
Oh gosh, that's such a big question. I'm just a person just trying to figure it out every day, like everybody else, I'll just start by saying I'm 60, because I talk about my age quite a bit, and I'll tell you why I do that as we get into it. But I was born, I'm from the Bay Area, and I did all the things you were supposed to do to be happy in life. I went to college and was supposed to get the big job out of college, and I didn't get the big job out of college. Like, I didn't get any job out of college. So it was a little bit kind of aimless, for many years, and sort of did different things. My family had businesses. My mom had a business. My husband had his own business. So I worked in those for many years. And then my daughter was born when I was 36. So I became a mom when I was 36. And I didn't have what I would call, and I know this may sound wrong, but like my first real job, in the office and all that kind of stuff, until I was in my 40s. Okay. So I even had an internship when I was 42. When we had moved down to LA, I got an internship in a casting office because I thought I wanted to go into casting. I had studied acting for many years in the 90s. I loved being around actors. I liked, movies and TV and all that. So I did that for a little while. And then I got sort of what I would call my first real job when I was 46. And I worked for this company. I moved up very quickly. I ended up being the creative director, and did that for 10 years. And then in my mid 50s, I kind of just had a reckoning All kinds of things were happening. The biggest was my mom passed away. I was 55. And there were just sort of life shaking things happening. My daughter had graduated from high school, and I was starting to have a lot of physical issues. So up until then, I had been, you know, pretty active, a lot of ups and downs, roller coasters. When I was working a lot, I didn't work out very much and was subsisting on sugar and caffeine for many years. But just things were happening. Lots of lab levels were increasing. I had frozen shoulder. I had a herniated disc, spine degeneration. So I was in chronic pain and brain fog. Like a lot of things were happening all at the same time. And I was really burnt out at work. So I left my job when I was 55. And I have a spouse. So I had the privilege to be able to manage that and do that. And then I just started to dig into all things midlife, um, mainly the physical piece of it, because I just wanted to understand what was happening. And then kind of stumbled also on the subject of ageism, which I knew very little about.
Mm.
And then just decided to start a blog because I thought, well, share some info that I'm learning about, from sarcopenia to thinning hair to, I thought, okay, let's just do something. And then you get all the social handles. And so, of course, Instagram is one of them.
Mm.
And I didn't post anything for about a year after I started that account because of fear, imposter syndrome, thinking it
Yeah.
was just stupid. No one's gonna want to see this. Who am I to do this? Like, but I don't know what changed my mind, but there was at some point I just thought, let's just dive in and let's just see what happens.
Yeah.
And so I started doing stuff and started pulling quotes from my blog and just little things, never showing myself. And then I started to just put myself out there. And I did it by doing remixes with people, usually dancing, and then some fitness stuff, just because it's visual and it's the kind of thing I did most of the time.
Yeah.
And a couple things just took off, but just by surprise. No plan, it just happened. And then it just started rolling from there. And then I started getting messages from people telling me that wow, I saw this reel, and so I started walking every day,
Yeah.
or I'm going to start using weights. I had a woman write to me and say, oh, I'm 48, I'm not scared of getting older anymore.
Oh.
So those things were just really amazing to me,
Yeah.
and I've just been rolling with it ever since.
Yeah, I love
Mm.
that. Those are such great stories to have. But I'm sure there's also been people that have maybe given you some not so great feedback. Have you gotten that before? Some negative comments?
Oh, you know what? I have very little negative feedback.
That's amazing.
And I don't know why.
No,
Because
that's great.
I know, Tara. I've seen your posts. Like you're showered with it. And I just think, what are people saying? Like this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Because you're just such an amazing, strong person and like great example, of doing the work and having the discipline and all that. So I've seen some of that. I don't get those kinds of comments. I do get some,
Okay.
uh, but for the most part, it's been a really positive place.
Love that.
Yeah.
So what
Yeah.
is well, first of all, let's talk about what is ageism? How would you describe that to people?
Well, like other isms, it's stereotyping and discrimination and prejudice against someone based on age.
And
And
do you talk
so,
oh sorry, go ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, do you talk about it as a like a broad term or more for women specifically?
It is a broad term because it can affect anyone, uh, young or old, uh, but especially for older people. So, ageism can affect somebody young if you make assumptions about them not being able to, it's like, say, in a work situation, that they're
Yeah.
not able to um, handle a particular kind of work just based on age.
Yeah.
So, that's also ageism. But it mostly affects older people, and in particular, women. And we know that because women are held up to a particular standard. Youth is prized above all.
Mhm.
And it's very hard to, I mean, I think I can like theoretically see how it's happening, how problematic it is, how damaging it is, how markets are created around it, how we learn it at a very young age, 3 years old, 4 years old, you start to see it in fairy tales in the beginning and games and toys and things like that. So I can see all that, but at the same time, it's hard to get away from it as well
For sure.
because it's so, we've absorbed all these messages. It's in our subconscious. We have these biases. And so I do see a lot of discussions, especially on social, around things around women aging, what they should look like, what they shouldn't look like, what they should wear, what they shouldn't wear, what they
Yeah.
should do, what they shouldn't do. Um, and coming back to fitness, like you see these messages, and I know you've written about this around building muscle
Yeah.
and lifting heavy and all of that. And I see those messages all the time about, people saying, no, you're not going to bulk up the way you imagine you're going to bulk up.
Yeah.
Like that is extremely hard to do. And I know you've posted about this too, but it's just so interesting that that's such a common belief and that women are, still striving to have a particular kind of body. And that is somehow equated, you know, with being the end all be all. And I think as you get older, it's easier to kind of understand that that really shouldn't be the ultimate goal because your body will start to change in perimenopause. That's pretty much guaranteed. And to what extent it changes and what effects you have, that's going to be, across the spectrum from very little to extreme. And I think that's the time where you really understand, okay, wow, things are really changing. And if I want to continue to do what I love to do or some version of that, I'm going to need to be proactive about it, find out what I need for myself. That's what
Was
I see.
there a moment like, or was it just kind of over time where you were like, I know I
Mm-hmm.
need to make this change. And I also want to be able to talk about it with people more
Yeah.
openly. Was there like a specific time or moment where you were like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
seeing this too much and I need to talk about this more openly or over
I
time?
think there were a couple of things. One, when I just learned the term sarcopenia and that
Okay.
we start to lose lean muscle mass, I think after age 30, we start to lose it.
Hmm.
And that you need to do something to counteract it and fight it. And I've seen people in my family who literally have no muscle strength. I
Hmm.
know what that looks like, and it's devastating, and it's so difficult. So I just look at that and think, okay, I'm whatever. I'm just going to do what I need to do to try not to be in that situation. Whether or not it works or not, we don't know, right? That's life.
Hmm.
But I might as well try to, you know, decrease the risk as much as I can. And then the other thing that happened was when I was having a lot of back issues. It was chronic. It was really painful. It was difficult. I couldn't stand at the kitchen sink for more than 5 minutes. I had a hard time getting in and out of the car. I was waking up all night long. I'd have to lay down on the carpet just to flatten my spine out, and it it was painful.
Yeah.
And I did all the, I did PT and I was doing all of that, and I just thought, wow, if it's this bad now, what's it going to be like in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years? And I thought, I just not, I'm not going to do that. So I just kind of set out on my own and looked for different kinds of solutions. And luckily, I found a couple of things that worked for me that has uh, really probably decreased the pain I have from, I don't know, from an 8 to maybe a 3,
Yeah.
on a daily basis. So I would say probably those two things. And the other interesting thing about my age now is looking back and just learning so much more about perimenopause and menopause now that I'm postmenopausal,
Right.
is I kind of understand looking back and thinking I wasn't thinking any of those were associated. with perimenopause at all, like just brain fog and joint pain and um, insomnia, all, hair thinning, all this kind of stuff. And I'm learning so much more about it now than I knew back, in my 40s and my early 50s. And so I didn't really have the capacity or the vocabulary to be able to talk to my doctors about it. And I always thought it was all about me as an individual and controlling my body and being able to control everything.
Yeah.
And that's not the case all the time. So I would say if there's anyone out there who is in this kind of age range, one, there's so much more information. There's a lot of doctors out there who are getting loud about it. And I hate to say menopause is having a moment because it makes it sound like a trend. It's not a trend. It's happening to half the planet. But the information is much better now. And I would say find out as much as you can about it, get educated, know what to talk to your doctors about, because there are a lot of things that you can do that can help you. And women just shouldn't suffer through that.
Yes. And I'm so glad you're saying that. On the second episode of my podcast, I had in a menopause expert come in, Dr. Maria. So make sure you go back and listen to that episode. She talks all about how important strength training is, but also just how you can work around so many of the symptoms that come up through perimenopause and menopause. It's funny that
and just knowing that they're symptoms.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
Because we only kind of know about the typical stereotypical ones, hot flashes, but there's so many more.
So many more. And it's funny that you say, is menopause like having a moment? Because I feel like it kind of is, right? In this, it's becoming trendy to know about it, which is like silly when you think about it, right? It's been happening forever, right? Like that's just how it is. But at least now we're at a point where people want to know, want to understand it more. Even men, I feel like, want to understand just the menstrual cycle and menopause as a whole more, which I appreciate. That is for sure.
They should.
Exactly.
Because, if they have partners who are, going through that time, they should understand what's going on. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, there's definitely more press about it. And I think there was, I don't know what it's called, but there was like some funding passed, right, to do more research into women's health. It's 2024. Hello.
Yeah, but that's great. Took long enough, but we're here, and that's all we can be excited about is that we're here. Have you ever had someone be like, "I'm too old to start," or "I can't get into this because it's been too long," or "I don't want to start from ground zero"? Like, what do you say to them?
Well, I know I had a comment recently, and someone said, "I'm 60. Can I do this?" And I said, "You're 60. Why wouldn't you do this?"
Yeah.
I feel like, one thing around ageism is that one of the types of ageism that is most common is self-directed ageism. So you're self-directing it at yourself. And that's saying, I'm too old to do this. I'm too old to wear that. I'm just basically blaming your age on, as the main resistance to something. And that may or may not be true, because I'm not saying aging doesn't matter and age doesn't matter, because it does, but it doesn't need to be the number one thing. Sometimes I say maybe it's the number 8 thing. I don't know, but at least stop and question it, and ask yourself if that's really the reason. So one example that I had posted about, when I was 50, I did a trapeze class. And so it's pretty high, right? You climb up these stairs and you hang on the trapeze, and you do a knee hang, you flip your legs over and you're hanging, and then you're upside down and you grab the guy on the other side. You're swinging and you grab the guy on the other side. Yeah. So I could see that as being something that someone might say, well, I'm too old to do that. But I didn't ask those questions. To me, it was, do I have the arm strength? Can I hang on that? Can I get up those stairs? Yeah. Like the ladder, like that's high. That's kind of scary. Can I get up the ladder? Is that guy going to catch me on the other side? Yeah. Am I flexible enough to flip my legs over? So those are the questions to ask. Obviously, not everyone's going to go on a trapeze, but whatever it is, whether it's starting a business or going back to school or wearing shorts or a bikini or doing a cartwheel or, or do you want to start a lesson, to do something, ask kind of the questions that are most applicable to what it is you want to do. And age is probably not going to have anything to do with it.
Well, it's funny because you
Probably.
said maybe age is number 8 on the list. When would it actually be on the list?
I think, well, okay. I see this all the time. It's a very optimistic and positive kind of attitude where you say like age doesn't matter and it's just a number and all that. And in some instances, I agree more in terms of intention of what you want to do. If you want to do something, don't let age, matter. If you just want to do it, like figure out the steps, what is it that you want to do? Figure out the steps. Do you need a coach? Do you need to take lessons? Do you need to be in a certain environment or whatever it is? But the times when age really matters, I think, one, you can't deny that your body is changing, especially if you're going through perimenopause. There are things that are going to be changing. And I think you need to react to them, especially when it comes to losing muscle, things like that. Like we know those things are happening.
Right.
And, bone mineral density and all those things are happening. And those are related to age. So be conscious of those things. I think also aging comes into play as you get older. There's less time to save for retirement and to build up retirement funds. As you age, you have very likely less time with your parents or aging pets or whoever it is. Like that matters. And those are related to age. So, I mean, I see it both ways.
Right.
But there are times when, it matters. It matters. I remember seeing someone, it's an influencer. I can't remember who it is, but he was talking about aging parents and if doing a calculation around how many times you would see them. So this person did not live close to their parents. And let's just say this person saw their parents twice a year and they're 70. And let's say they live to be 80 something. Well, that person said, well, I will see my parents maybe 20 more times.
Yeah.
Maybe 20 to 30 more times. So like if you calculate it that way, it's pretty astonishing. It's, it's like a big, smack on the back of your head, like, wake up to some of this stuff.
I think it's a wake up moment, but it's also a moment for me personally, because the relationship I have with my family is a little bit, it's rocky. And so I think of it less of how many times I'll see them and more of the quality of the times too. And also I think too, yes, there's an average age of how long you can live to. I think it's actually lower this year. I feel like I saw a study recently where I think the average age of American is going down. Is that right? Did you see that?
I think COVID may have brought the number down a little bit.
Yeah.
But as you get older, so I think the average lifespan, it changes as you get older. So if you look at the lifespan of someone who's 50, it's probably going to be higher than that. If you look at the lifespan of someone who's already 70, it's going to be higher. So it like depends on what age you're looking at. But I believe it's under 80. It's under 80.
Yeah.
For men and women, I think right now.
But then I feel like also you're putting yourself in this, okay, well, I'm going to live till I'm 80 or 83 or whatever that is. And that's what it is. And so then I feel like there's this like cap on life a little where you're like, well, I've got another 10 years with my parents. Like might as well like do as much as I can. But also what if you get another 10 or 20?
Well, that's the big mystery, right?
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah, of course. And really it's, I think as I'm getting older, I'm nowhere near your age, Mimi, and I appreciate all of your wisdom with all of this. But as I get older, I really look at like the time and quality that I want in my life. And I think with that comes health and wellness, but also just the people, because the people that you surround yourself with is the most important part. So do you feel like that's, as you've gotten into your 50s and 60s now, do you feel like your circle has changed a little bit too?
Hey talkers, are you on a journey to feel amazing in your own skin without any pressure or judgment? Well, let me help you fuel up for the ride. Enter Legion Athletics, your new fitness sidekick. These guys aren't just your average supplement company. They're like the supportive coach, Tara, who always has your back, no matter what. Whether you're aiming to feel stronger, more energized, or just a little more badass every day, Legion's got your back. And your biceps, and your abs, and your glutes. Well, you get the picture. Their products, well, let me tell you, they're like a treasure trove of goodness, meticulously crafted to nourish your body and enhance your performance without any unnecessary fillers or fluff. Plus, they taste so good, you'll actually look forward to chugging down your protein shake. And hey, if you're into science, you'll appreciate that Legion's formulas are backed by real research. There's no bro science here, just pure, sweet, sweet gains. So what are you waiting for? Embrace the journey to becoming the best version of yourself with Legion Athletics by your side. Head over to legionathletics.com now and use your code TerraTalk for 20% off your first order and double loyalty cashback on every order after. That's TerraTalk, TARATALK, and enjoy the rest of the show.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I know I have to say I got closer to a lot of my women friends during the pandemic, because we were all on Zoom.
Yeah.
And so there was this one group that we would get together, I don't know, maybe once a quarter or something. And then we started meeting every single week. And now we're actually seeing each other a couple times a month. It's
Nice.
way more than we did before. And then I also joined this, there was this group that doesn't exist anymore called Revel. And it was targeted to middle-aged women. And it was in the Bay Area. And they used to do, they just do all these activities in person, and then they put everything online. And so I met actually quite a few people through that. And I still have this one pretty tight group. We actually just met last night.
Nice.
Very diverse in age. Yeah. And we've been together now for more than 3 years. Awesome. So that happened out of that. And I do feel like my friendships are closer and more important. And I think part of that is a function of our kids all being older. This particular group, most of the women are around the same age. The Rebel group, it's more diverse. But so then you're not needing to give your kids as much attention. You have more time, hopefully, for yourself. So I think that has made a bit of a difference in terms of the quality time we can spend together, and we're not needing to kind of rush off for these other things.
Did you always know you wanted to have a kid? Do you have one?
I have one.
Okay.
And yes, I did. Even I don't know, maybe in middle school, maybe in elementary, I also felt like I really kind of knew I was going to have a daughter, and I did.
And now she's 24. Is that right?
She's 24.
Does she live in LA?
Yes.
Okay. Are you guys pretty close?
We're very close.
Yeah. You seem very happy talking close. About her. Is she into fitness and do the things with you?
Her story is so interesting. So when she was younger, she took ballet. She did it for many, many years and was not interested in sports at all. Tried to get her to try all kinds of different sports, just no interest. So ballet was the thing. And then after she was out of high school, my husband and I were members at this gym. And somehow he talked her into just going to the gym. I'll just check it out, and she started doing spinning classes and just trying out all these different classes. And we met this trainer that we started to work with. And she was a weightlifter. She lifted weights. And we started taking her HIIT class, and we just loved her. And she was just a great role model. And during the pandemic, my daughter she had moved out of the country, and my daughter started to do training with her on FaceTime or something. Yeah. So, and then she started to lift weights. So we've got a weight rack in our garage. Because of her, she said, I want,
Yeah.
let's get the weight rack. And, you know, so that's what she does. And she works out with her a couple times a week.
Awesome.
So that kind of is mind blowing because I never would have guessed that she would do that. And then she'll go to the gym for, other supplemental stuff. But
Yeah.
but the weights, the barbells, that's her
So
main
fun.
that's her main thing.
What does your journey look like right now? Like how I know you're such a great dancer. You're so flexible. You're so mobile. Like you can do so many things. What does it look like with your fitness right now?
Well, my favorite fitness is my boxing class, which I've been doing for 10 years.
Okay.
And that's the hardest thing I do. I used to do it a lot more, maybe upwards of 4 times a week.
Wow.
I can't, I'm just going to say I can't. I need the time to recover from that because it's hard. And so that's just like my high intensity exercise. So now I can do it. I like to do it twice a week because I like to have at least a couple of days to recover after that. So that's my happy place. And
this
then
is also the mutual, Leon. Leon works out with you, right?
Do you know Leon?
I do.
You do?
Yeah. I met him at an event like several years ago. And
did?
Yeah. So super funny, small world.
Okay.
But I've seen him in some of your posts and I meant to tell it to you, but I think I messaged him or something. Yeah. Super funny.
Leon changed my life. I can truly say that Leon changed my life. So
he's awesome.
10 years ago, I went to this local gym and there was a class I was taking. I was just going in and paying for this class. And this one night, the instructor couldn't show up. I know she had car trouble or something like that. So I go to the front desk and I say, getting a refund, the class is canceled, blah, blah, blah. And so this gal, Jennifer, she says, oh, well, why don't you go try the boxing class downstairs? Because, you can go try it. And I said, absolutely not.
Yeah.
No, that's
what I wanted.
That's not, no, I've seen the gym. It's this hot, steamy place. Like the mirrors are all fogged up and they're boxing. Like, no. And she goes, well, look, you're here, you're dressed. The first class is free.
Yeah.
And it's in 20 minutes. So go try it. And in that split second, I would be inclined to just say, no, thank you. But something just made me say, okay, what the hell? And once I said yes, I knew I had to do it.
Yeah.
So I go downstairs and I see people around. I said, hi, I'm new. I don't know what I'm doing. Can you help me? And of course, everybody helps you.
Yeah.
Right. And so that was Leon's gym. And so I meet Leon and I do the class. It was the hardest physical thing I had ever done. Tara, I had never done a push-up. I had never done a burpee. I had never carried sandbags. I had never punched anything. I had never wanted to punch anything.
Yeah.
But after that class, I did. But the reason why is because I was watching these women in the ring hitting hard, fast combos. Yeah. And I thought, I'm coming back to learn that. Yeah. I want to do that. And that's what it was like, the women in the ring, that's what made me come back. And I came back in again and again. And the other thing about Leon is that he created this environment where, it was just, there was just so much connection. So you'd be put into these groups and you put everyone's name, you'd write everyone's name on the mirror. Every coach knew everybody's name. Every time I came down there, every coach knew me. It was incredible. I had never gone to a gym like that.
Yeah.
And that was part of what I really loved about it. And what he taught me, it was a big lesson that I've taken with me over all aspects of my life, was to get comfortable with discomfort.
Yeah.
Get uncomfortable and work through it, because on the other end, it's so fantastic. I was the comfy gal, Tara. Yeah. I was the gal in my purse. I had the little packs of Kleenex. I always had the Advil. I always had the dental floss. I always had the gum. I always had the tampons. Like if you needed something, I was the one you would come to
Yeah.
for that. Like I needed everything to be really, really comfortable. So that concept was so new to me. And it was very helpful across all aspects of life, in work and in life and in the crappy, shitty things that happen in life. And that really helped me. So I can really, truly say that Leon, my first boxing coach, changed my life.
Oh, that is so awesome. Yeah, like I said, I met him one time, so it was like pretty brief, but we do still follow each other and I always see his stuff, and it's just, he's such an incredible human. He's like one of those people that you see him and you're like, he's this big, super muscular, yes, very intimidating man. Like anytime I see him without his shirt on, I'm like, how do you have 37 abs? Like, what are you like, he just looks like this like big guy. But then he smiles and he talks and you're like, oh, you're such a teddy bear, you know, like I think, I was thinking about this the other day. The gym I go to it's like big guys in there too, but like, they're all really so sweet and so supportive and wants everyone to succeed. And so it doesn't matter who you are, what age you are, how much you weigh or what, like they want to support you and want you to be on this journey too, because in some capacity, it changed their life too. And I think that group fitness is like the best catalyst to get you to where you want to go next. It makes you like really believe in yourself with this like support around you and inspiration from these girls in the ring you're talking about. It's just such a cool experience.
I agree. And I think the thing that happens in boxing, because it is so challenging, it's challenging for everyone. I don't care how fit you are. I don't care how strong you are.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It's always hard, and it's hard for everyone. So we're in it together, and we can all relate to it, whatever your level, whatever your age, whatever your body type, it doesn't matter. It's going to be a challenge for everyone. Yeah. And so I think it's you kind of have this automatic support system in place.
Yeah.
Because everyone's looking at each other like, he wants us to do that.
Yeah. Like, okay. Well, it's so cool too that you were like at the front desk, like having that moment of like, I could say no, I could walk away, but like that one yes brought you to where you are today. Which
changed my life.
So cool. Yeah.
But so the thing is like, I'm the kind of person who would have said no.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like, no, it's too scary. I don't know what it is. It's too many unknowns.
Too much. Yeah.
So I just don't know what made me do that day, but I'm really glad whatever it was, you know.
So now you box twice a week. What are you doing for the other days?
Then I do the like weight training I'll do at home, because we have a pretty robust setup in our garage. Yeah. So we've got, you know, all the equipment we need there. And then sort of the fun stuff, the dancing or the step. I still love doing step aerobics. I got this step board on eBay, and there's a lot of fun people, you know, on Instagram that I follow. And so I'll do those two things. Just kind of, you know, whenever. I walk every day. That's newish for me. I know you've written about walking and done your pod about walking, but that was probably more in the last couple of years, just starting my day off with a walk. Actually, that's another pandemic thing. So it's probably longer than 2 years. That's another pandemic thing. It's like, okay, can't go anywhere. What are we going to do? Let's go outside and walk.
Go outside.
And that became just a regular part of my morning routine. Yeah. So that's the first thing I do in the morning. I drink a big glass of water and I go walk for a mile.
So 10 years ago, you did this very uncomfortable thing. Have you done an very uncomfortable thing recently?
No, but I have some plans. Like I'd like to go try that trapeze school again.
Love it.
So, but I feel like I need to sort of work up to some things before I do it. I do remember doing that, and the backs of my knees I think I like bruised the back of my knees.
Oh, from like just the rubbing of the,
yeah, just rubbing on the bar. That was pretty painful. That you might not be able to avoid, but I remember the backs of my knees hurting quite a bit.
Did you have like leggings on, or were you wearing shorts?
I think I was just wearing leggings. Yeah, just leggings. Okay, golly. Oh, shorts probably.
I know shorts. I was like, maybe you can use chalk or something, but if leggings didn't help.
I don't know. I don't know. I'd probably have to do a little bit of a researcher or ask them.
Yeah.
So that I want to do again, but I do have to work up to that, I think. And then I want to do a pull up or a chin up. I really do.
I
So
bet you're
I
way
printed
closer
out
than you
this
think.
plan of how, oh God, I even even a dead hang is really hard for me. So
Okay.
I work out a lot, and but I guess my upper body is not as strong as I thought it was.
It's a
So that's a
different
goal
kind
for
of
me.
movement, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
if you have any tips for me,
Oh, I will.
I,
Yes. That's why I say you're
Arms
probably
wide
closer
open.
than you think, because you have a really great base already. And if you just like
Yeah.
really be consistent 3 times a week for the next like 8 weeks, you'll probably get it at the end of 8 weeks.
Yeah. Okay.
You're
So
there.
that's a goal of mine.
You're closer than you think.
I've never been able to do one my entire life.
I can't wait to see you do it this year.
Yeah. But I mean, I guess I haven't really made it a goal or really tried. I want to do a pistol squat.
See, that I'm sure you can do.
It's really hard for me.
Have you tried it with just like a heel lift, like a plate underneath your heel?
No. Okay.
You should take a video and send it to me. I'll give you some tips there too.
Okay. I'll try that. But again, I haven't trained to do that.
But you're super flexible and mobile. Like I've seen you do splits like really easily.
Yeah. That I've been flexible my whole life. So thank goodness. I actually don't keep up with it as much as I used to, but because I do some yoga once in a while. I always like that to just sort of, if I need a really good sort of reset or stretch or whatever. But the flexibility, I've just always been flexible.
That's your thing.
Just always been flexible.
Yeah.
You know, that's and good, like ankle mobility and things like that. Although I did sprain my ankle last year and it's not 100%, which is kind of a drag, but I'm hoping I still get there. You know?
Doing more stuff.
There's always setbacks.
Yeah, of course. But it's all about how you work around them.
Well, it's just like, I just feel like it's always starting over. So I was so on a really good roll with boxing, and then I got sick in, I guess, probably November. And then I got sick again this month. And I sort of have to start over, and a lot of times people will reach out and ask me questions about, consistency, getting started and all that. It's like, well, you're probably going to have to start over again and again and again. Like you just start over again and again and again. It's okay.
But do you feel like you're starting over or starting at like level 3 or 4?
Well, yeah. I'm, it's not completely starting over.
Yeah.
But I think the frustration is like I get to a certain place where I'm just like feeling really good and I have the energy and I feel strong, and I feel like my endurance is pretty good. And then, you sprain your ankle or you get sick, or there's like
travel something.
To like climb back up, climb it back. But I've done that a million times. This is what you do.
And I honestly think that you learn so much from getting back into it, progressing back from an injury. I feel like I learn so much more about my body when I go through an injury, because then I can prepare for it not to happen again.
Yes. And then I also don't take my body for granted. It's a reminder, don't walk with your head down in your phone so you trip over the crack in the sidewalk.
That is the truth. So how does it feel being 60 on social media in this digital age, when I feel like everyone's younger and younger and younger on their phones and on social media? So how does it feel being this 6-year-old woman taking up space and being your best self online?
Well, I have to say, like, doing it has been a positive experience, and it has been fun. And I have connected with all kinds of people in all kinds of ways. And that part's been really great. When people are reaching out and saying that they started something or they're doing something. I had one the other day that was really awesome. So there's this shuffle dancer. She's in Mexico. and I've done remixes with her because I just love her style. And this woman wrote, "Oh my gosh, I started taking her online class because I saw you." And she said, and I was so nervous and I didn't think I could do it. She was, and then I did it.
Yeah.
And she said, I felt like I could fly. And I
Oh,
went,
I love that.
that is like so amazing.
Yeah.
So amazing. I just love that. And I had another woman who said, "Oh my gosh, I haven't taken a dance class since I was 10 years old and I just signed up for a dance class." Like
Yeah.
that is incredible. So that part of it has been fun. My circle of friends and my family, they're
Not
not,
on it.
I mean, they are, but they dabble a little bit, but not to this extent.
Right.
So it's just like a different world to them.
Yeah.
So I can bounce ideas off my daughter a little bit. She's
Okay.
me on social more, than others. Um, but and then I've met people in the Instagram world
Yeah.
who kind of had the same message and stuff. And I've actually met some of them in real life, which has been really
Awesome.
amazing.
Yeah.
But the kind of the world I'm in this space, I follow a lot of people in this kind of age range.
Okay.
And there are a lot of loud voices out there.
Yeah.
And so it's really great. I think it's growing. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's really growing or if it's just because that's just the environment I'm
The
in. Do
circle,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
So I
Yeah.
can't really tell. I'm not sure. But I know that where I'm at and who I'm following and who I'm looking at, and the messaging that they're putting out, it seems to be spreading,
Yeah.
I think.
But none
I'm
of
not
your
so
close
sure.
friends or family are on social at all?
I mean, they are just,
Just not
a little bit,
public
somewhat.
figure. You're public you're almost 200,000 followers on Instagram. It's a big deal.
Yeah, it's getting close to that. But it's only because some of these dance remixes have just, I don't
Gone
know.
viral.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Like there's a couple of them that they just blew up. I don't know why. I really don't.
We never know how it
I
really
don't.
works, honestly. We
You
never
never
know.
know.
Yeah.
You never know. I mean, some of them just are just shock me. And like, suddenly you open your phone, there's like hundreds of notifications. Like,
Yeah.
what's going on? I remember the first
Yeah.
time that happened, I just didn't understand it at all.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I never thought I never thought it'd be possible or that it would happen. So,
Are you on TikTok as
but
well or just Instagram?
I'm not. I mean, I have a TikTok account. I think I have 2 posts or 3 posts. I
Okay.
don't. I feel like the TikTok world's a little bit different in the way people are presenting themselves
For
and
sure.
speaking to the world. And I'm not. I don't know. I don't know if I quite know what to do there. I don't
Okay.
know. Because I don't know if if you look at my posts, I never talk to the camera.
Yeah. And TikTok is a lot of talk to camera.
Yes, a lot talking to the camera,
Yeah.
yeah. And I'll say yet. It doesn't,
Yeah.
eventually I probably will. But
Yeah.
up to this point, it's just not what I've done. It's not
Yeah.
what I'm comfortable with. So
What do you feel like you really want to tell people about aging? Just aging in general.
well, I'm a realist. So I know I put out a lot of positive messaging, and there is research around positive attitudes around aging. And that if you have a positive attitude around aging, you live an average of 7.5 years longer, something like that.
Yeah.
And this is from, her name is Becca Levy out of Yale. So, but I know that's not what it's all about. I've been around aging people, I see it in my family, and it can be absolutely devastating. So I'm a realist around it, but I'm going to, one, just, I think it's a good idea to try to mitigate whatever risk you can, in terms of health and physicality and things like that. Uh, and I would say that, again, be conscious around ageism, maybe do a little bit of research to understand what it is, be conscientious about self-directed ageism. And it's kind of like if you learn some things about it, it's like having a brand new red car. So
Mm.
if you have a brand new red car, so you suddenly see red cars everywhere. So
Yeah.
if you understand it and you know how to recognize it, you suddenly start to see it in a lot of places that seem inconsequential, but they all add up. And it's such an interesting phenomenon because ageism is going to affect everybody at some point if you're lucky enough to age, because not everyone has that gift.
Right.
And, it's just, it's kind of recognizing it, understanding it, calling it out, being conscious about it if you self direct it. And I think we make it have more meaning than it needs to have.
That's fair. Yeah,
You know what I mean? And
absolutely.
so, and it's usually in the negative, especially for older people. There's a lot of assumptions made about
Yeah.
older people, that they are all kind of the same way, that that they're frail, that they're weak, that they're digital dum-dums, that they, like the same things, that they can't change in any way. And I don't think that's true, at least in the people that I know and
Right.
observe and see. And so it just, be careful around it,
Yeah.
and be careful around the assumptions. And I know that it's at milestone birthdays, it's very, very common. You start to make fun of people when they turn 50 or 40, and I see even 30, which to me is kind of nuts.
Yeah.
And so I understand why, people will feel that way and have this negative baggage around it, but I don't think it's really your fault. It's sort of what we've been inundated with. It's what we learn. It's in our subconscious. We see it everywhere around us: marketing, advertising, movies. When you start to see people who are older, often, especially women, will say, "Oh, I start to feel it. I feel invisible. Like I don't see myself."
Yeah.
And you will sort to, start to um, realize that you kind of don't see yourself anymore. You don't see yourself, um, again, in marketing and ads. You don't see yourself on shows, and it's like people aren't speaking to you anymore. It's such a weird, it's a really weird thing to experience, because suddenly it occurs to you, I don't, everything from magazine covers to ads,
Yeah.
like you're just not
Movies.
there anymore. It's strange.
It is strange. Yeah. It's
It's nutty because the market for people over 50 is enormous. I think they
huge.
have more
Yeah.
economic impact than any other age group. And
Yeah.
the world is only getting older, it's not getting younger.
Right.
So to me, that's a really big miss on the part of brands, you know.
Yeah. Well, you are a perfect person to be a part of that in any brand. I'm like, if any brand is listening to this and wants Mimi, please, she will take any dancing, any fitness, any athletic. I will send them your way because I think you would be an amazing voice for that. What is one thing that you wish you knew before you started your fitness journey, and specifically the fitness journey you started before your boxing? So about 10 years ago.
Well, I would say a couple of things. The perimenopause piece, I really wish I knew more about that. But again, I don't think there was as much information at the time. We didn't
Mhm.
have social media at the time, where a lot of doctors had platforms who were really
Right.
spreading more information. And then in years before boxing, actually, even when I was boxing, I was sort of doing, when I was really, really busy, fitting in like the 2 classes a week and thinking that was enough, and
Mm.
not moving throughout the day, not getting up from my desk, not taking a break once an hour just to move around a little bit, not to walk, not, so I wasn't getting movement throughout the day. And I was um, sort of fooling myself thinking I could do a couple hours a week, and that would, you know, that would suffice. That would be enough. Yeah. And so I wish I knew more about that at the time. And I think I wish I knew more about the importance of strength training. It was something I did, but it wasn't a big priority. Just, through the years, kind of, I said, I used to just kind of wander around the gym and see what machines were open. Yeah. And that's how I did it. There was no plan, there was no progression, there was nothing like that.
Yeah.
And so, but I don't think that information was available at the time.
Right.
When I was in my 20s and my 30s, I think it's now with voices like yours and others who are saying, no, this is really important. This is why it's so important. So some of those things I don't think really could have been helped in a lot of ways. Like I said, I don't think the information is readily available, but for sure, the not getting movement through the day was a big one. And I'm kind of guessing that contributed to some of my back issue, just sitting in a chair for, 10 hours a day.
Yeah. And now, thankfully, we've got these standing desks. There's under desk treadmills.
Yeah.
There's so much more movement. I think with COVID, it was like, let's bring us inside, right? Besides our walks. But now I feel like there's so much more you can do in your own home with adding in some of those steps and moving.
And even something like just the watch reminder.
Yes, exactly.
It's kind of gamifying it and saying, no, close your ring. That's
Or it's always funny because my watch will always be like, it's time for a stand break. I'm like, I'm actually standing right now. Like, how do you not know that that's what's happening? Hello, stop being an ass.
I know.
Well, Mimi, thank you so much for being on. I appreciate your time and I appreciate everything that you put out there. Where can people find you and talk with you online?
The main place would be Instagram at Hey Middle Age. I do have a blog called Hey Middle Age. It's a little bit dormant right now. So that's kind of my plan this year to get that up and running or even possibly moving over to Substack. So that's something I'm actively working on right now.
Awesome.
So, but Instagram would be the main place.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time. Is there anything else you want to share with anyone about just being an awesome 6-year-old woman?
I think everyone can be as awesome as you can. I would say do what you can with what you have for yourself, whatever's best for you. And a lot of people ask me for advice, and I honestly can't give it. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One, I'm not an authority, and I don't have the bona fides for things. And two, it's like what you need is going to be so much different from anybody else. And I feel like, more of the message is you got to do the work to figure out what's best for you because we're all different. We all have different needs. I will say that I know we live in a world that makes it very, very hard. We're in a world of convenience. And so don't be so hard on yourself because your environment is making it easy to not do the things that might be helpful for your health. And that's, I think, of one of the biggest challenges because you could literally, if you wanted to, stay inside seated all day if you wanted to and have everything, delivered and brought to you and not really need to move. And so I think that's a big challenge. So I would say, don't be so hard on yourself. And it's like an exploration, really, of finding what's best for yourself. That's part of the work, and it's hard, but it's also part of the fun, the trial and error to figure out what's right for you. And that's what's worked for me is just, trying things, be open, say yes.
And uncomfortable. Get uncomfortable.
Get uncomfortable.
That is what we're leaving this podcast with. Go out there and get uncomfortable.
Yeah. Thanks, Leon, for the message.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you so much, Mimi. Thanks for coming to this Tara Talk. I hope you're taking something away from this episode, and if so, I would love to hear about it. You can connect with me at The Tara Talk and at Tara La Ferrara on Instagram. A few ways you can help support the show and help spread the word. You can share it on Instagram, tag at the Tara Talk and at Tara LaFerrara. Send an episode to a friend, and please leave a review if the show is resonating with you. It takes just a few minutes, and it means so much to help this show grow, and it helps me to continue to bring on badass guests for all of us to learn and grow from. I am so happy you're here and excited to be on this journey with you. Until next time, be a badass with a good ass.